One of the big questions that a lot of people always ask when we have a new Congress is the makeup of the House. And currently, the legacy media would like all of us to believe that politics is what's driving things this week. And no question, there's a lot of politics involved here, but it's more than that is what's driving this. As with anything, what drives decision making is the worldview of people who are making those decisions. And of course, worldview is something that's shaped by the beliefs or the lack of beliefs that people have. So what does the faith of the 118th Congress look like? With me to talk more about this is David Closson. He's the director of Biblical Worldview here at the Family Research Council. David, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Representative Heiss, and welcome to the FRC team.
Listen, could not be more pleased to be joining you and Tony and the whole team at FRC. Listen, before we take a quick break here, I thought it'd be important for our listeners to hear from you a little bit about the latest Pew Research Center's report on Faith on the Hill. What can you tell us about the faith of this 118th Congress?
Yeah, it's a really interesting report, Faith on the Hill, that Pew Research Center just put out. You know, Representative Heiss, there's two trends in American kind of religious life. One is that it seems every year there's fewer and fewer Americans who identify as Christian. And the second trend would be every year it seems more and more identify as religious nuns who are either agnostic or atheistic or say they just don't care about religion. Those are two trends we've observed for several years now. But what's fascinating is that when you look at the religious composition of the 118th Congress, those trends have not held at all. In fact, 88% of those who are going to be sworn in the new Congress, that's House and Senate, are Christian. And when you break it down, 56.7% of new members and former members, the incumbents, are Protestant, and about 27.7% are Catholic. And so this is, when you look at it again, 88% who identify as some form as Christian.
That's fascinating. I mean, that really is amazing. I can tell you, I witnessed that personally. It seemed in my 8 years in Congress, it seemed like every election there were more believers that were coming on. So the information you just shared would actually confirm.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think a lot of us who watch what happens in Washington, D.C., we think that this town is a godless city. It's kind of swampy. But when you look at reports like this, it shows that God always has a remnant. In fact, there's a lot of faithful Christians. And as you know, we need to be praying for our representatives to have the courage of their convictions. But it is interesting to know there's a lot of faithful believers here in Washington, D.C.
David, in our last 15, 20 seconds, how would you encourage our viewers and listeners to pray for Congress?
Yeah, 1 Timothy 2, verses 1 through 4 says we need to be praying for our leaders. So let's pray for them to have those courage of their biblical convictions.
Awesome. David Closson, FRC, thank you.